Hi, I'm Alliana Outlaw.
And I'm Keith Patterson.
This past Friday, our Eagles traveled yet again, but to Russell County. Not surprising, the Eagles brought the win back to Ozark, 26-7.
Now we're bringing out Les Perrault and our head coach, Roger McDonald, to discuss the victory of last Friday's night's game. Also, we're going to be discussing with the coach and players the bye week and how they plan to prepare. Let's begin.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Carroll High School Football Review Show with Coach Roger McDonald. I'm Les Perrault. Coach, a big physical game last Friday night up at Russell County.
Les, it was physical. We knew going in it would be tough. You know, you play a 6A opponent, and we're 5A, and even though they hadn't had a lot of success over the years, they still have more kids to choose from, and that always makes a difference. And you know, I've told several people that, you know, 2 years ago, they went out and hired a good football coach in Dwight Jones. He had been there when they originally became Russell County, and he's first coach that ever took them to the playoffs. Had a good team. He left. He's been all over. Was the head coach at Auburn High School at one time. Went to the semifinals as the head coach at Auburn. He hired Clinton Britton from Smith Station as his defensive coordinator. So they've done a good job since they've been there, and I knew they would be much better coached than they have in the past. And we knew it would be tough. You know, they like to run the football just like we do. They just do it out of a little different formation with different schemes and a different philosophy behind it. But we knew it'd be tough, and the defense, we're still young. Even though we hadn't given up many points, each week is a different challenge for our young guys on defense. And we knew it would be physical, but we felt like if we could do what we always do, keep running the football, get after them on defense, that somewhere in the third quarter, you know, we'd see what we always see, that no moss signal that comes out from them, and you know they'll have 2 or 3 laying out every play, not injured, but just tired of taking the pounding.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And but, you know, it was a great game on the road. Anytime you go on the road and get a win against a larger opponent, that's good.
And so we're 2-0 in those road games so far this season.
2-0, and you know when the coaching staff sat down, we looked at it and said we need to be 2-0 at that bye week, because we've got so many young kids in certain positions. We need time to have a week off to evaluate, go back fundamentally. You know, having to play week 0 was a little tough on us, but you know, we felt real good about the situation, and we're 2-0, and that's what we wanted to be. We felt like it was extremely important to be 2-0 at the break.
Coach, I know Nate Ward, he took a lot of punishment Friday night, and how did you talk to him the next day, see how he's feeling?
I did. Nate actually was a little dinged up. He's been icing an injury all week, and that's kind of good that we have an off week. Several of the other guys are banged up physically a little bit, you know, and, you know, because of what Russell County did, scheme-wise, we had to do some stuff a little different. We were asking some of our guys to do something different in our scheme than they normally do, especially on the perimeter. And, you know, we felt like we put some of them in a bad spot. As a coaching staff, you go back and evaluate what we did. And, you know, we'll have to tweak some things that we do for people that present that same problem on down the road for us. But it was a physical game, and I'll tell you, I thought Russell County got after it the whole time. They got after it. Nate played a good ball game. You know, we go back and watch film and felt like we had a lot of breakdowns on the defensive side. Coach Graham, who's taken over as defense coordinator, and the defensive staff, they're pleased with the win, pleased with only giving up 7 points, but they as coaches take a lot of pride in doing everything right. When you look at the film and we make some mistakes, they're eager to get back to practice, get back and get those things fixed. And also as a staff, we kind of assess ourselves after these 2 games and what are some things we can do different. And there's some things we've got to do, and there's some things on offense that we need to do. You know, we got to rest Jake some and got to find some ways to do that. And so it's good to have this off week, especially after a tough, hard-fought ball game, and give us some time to evaluate ourselves and a little head start on Tallahassee.
Well, Coach, who are some of the players that stood out for Friday night's game against Russell County?
Well, the entire offensive line did a great job. Riley Jordan, a sophomore, started at left tackle for us. He did an exceptional job. You know, I could name every offensive lineman: Russell Clark, Isaiah Baxter, Bruce Touchstone, Jemias Walker, Alvin Cole, Trey Ware. They all do a great job up front for us. And, of course, Jake Patterson at fullback and Trey Buchanan handling the offense. They all do a good job. You know, Torrey Mulkey comes in at tailback and gives us an extra pop right there at tailback, along with DQ running the football. Jason Reese at wideout. And we've got some kids even on the offensive side that after we review the tape that we're going to challenge. If you don't get better and get after it more, you're going to lose some play time. But that's good because there needs to be competition.
Exactly.
Defensively, like I said, we had some big plays. Terry Williams, big play on that punt, blocked the punt, recovered the punt for touchdown, and we'll take a look at all that later on film. But we also made some mistakes. They closed their splits down, and it kind of, until we saw what was going on, presented some problems with some of the defensive tackles. But when we saw what they were doing, we changed our scheme a little bit. And so defensively, Will Parsons, I thought, probably played his best ball game. He made some real good tackles. He did a good job. Secondary played a good job. They didn't, they wasn't challenged a lot. Jake did a good job in the middle. Big boy, curious where he did a good job at Will, but we got to push him to be more aggressive. And we got some kids over there. DQ got tired a little bit. Rosario and AR, they always get after it.
Yes, they do.
But we played high. The whole front played high, and there's a lot of things. But sometimes when you can win and have a lot of things you can go back and coach on, that's good.
Exactly.
Because we're going to show them the film and say, hey, guys, we won 26-7, but look at the mistakes we made. And that's good because it gives us something to work with and something to move forward with. And it's a lot easier to coach mistakes after a win than coach mistakes after a loss.
Exactly. Well, Coach, let's get into those highlights now.
All right.
Coach, speaking of the kickoff there, Charles Irvin did a fantastic job Friday night with his kicks.
He did. We worked hard on it. You're limited in your coaching. Most of my coaches could probably coach every position, work with every position. But if you're not a soccer-style kicker, I think it's kind of like playing golf. The fundamentals and technique. If you don't know, it's hard to teach it. And I tell everybody, leave them kickers alone. So I had, Kirk came out and worked with Charles some. And my thing to Kirk, tell me what he can do best. Because whatever he can do best on these kickoffs, we will adjust the coverage to. I just need to know what he can do best. And we felt like that a couple of things. One is he can push the ball. According to the game, their return people, we can also kick deep. So we're not just limited. But we asked him the other night, let's kick the ball, try to get a fair catch out of them. Kick it around the 20, 25, 28-yard line. And he did a good job of that, got it up in the air. We probably won't see it later, but also on the kickoff, Zach Taylor, he's a senior. He's never got to play a lot. He's getting a start on the kickoff. And I told him, Zach, this is your way to contribute. He can run like a scalded dog now, and he can get down there. But Austin Mitchell, who is our contain guy, he made a great play on one of the kickoffs because the guy almost got it, and he reached back with his hand, grabbed cloth, got him down, and that's what we said. You get your hands on him, hold on, find him, and he's a ninth grader.
Yeah.
And a kid like Austin being on there, look, Austin's always been the premier player, running back in his age group. And all of a sudden, being a ninth grader, he has to take a back seat to a couple of guys. But he understands right now my role is to contribute wherever I can. And on that kickoff, he gives somebody an opportunity to rest, and he did a great job. I mean, if he doesn't make the tackle, they're probably going to score. It was a great play, and he did a great job. Charles, he did a much better job. He missed an extra point, and like I said, I told him you got to be automatic on the extra points. We can't kick it out of bounds. Because when we kicked it out of bounds, they got it to 35. They threw a pass to the 50. The next thing you know, they got a short field, and they score before half. So I told him, you've got to understand the importance of what 10 yards may do. 10 yards can make a big difference.
Sure,
because if they had 10 more yards to go before half, they probably don't score down there.
Right.
And so it's hard to just give it to them on the 35. But Charles has worked hard. He does everything he can do. He always thinks I'm mad at him. I said, Charles, I ain't mad at you. I just need you to do what we can do to get this right. And I said, you'll know if I'm mad at you. And but Charles, he's worked real hard to do a good job for us. But also on the kickoffs, David Minifield, he does a good job. And David right now is one of those guys that was fighting for a job that is having to contribute on special teams. Bashawn Robinson is the same way. You know, we got some guys that are sacrificing having to do that. And that's what it is. That's big that you got guys that are not selfish and don't pout, that assume, take on what their role is at the time being, do the best they can.
And those spots are very important too.
Yes.
Very important.
Well, they take a guy like Jake who's already playing every snap on defense, 70% of the time on offense, and he can rest on a special team, or DQ can rest on a special team. You know, it's kind of like Dedrick Edwards. Right now, Dedrick, you know, he's in a competition for his job at left tackle. And the ninth grader got the majority of the playing time the other night. But Dedrick comes in for us on punt team. He's in the shield. And I watched him on the shield. He did his job, did what was asked. He could have pouted and you know, been selfish about it, but he didn't. And that's a good thing, and that means everybody has bought in to what we're trying to do, and that's important.
Exactly.
The play before the touchdown, I think we had about a 10 or 11 play drive right there, Les. You know, we're getting a little I-wing set. When they get down close, they really start bringing the nine technique off the edge. And so we're getting a little I-wing formation, and we're running the power right there. Right there's with John. And then we get in here, he gets down. I thought he almost got it in, but the offensive line's just knocking him off the ball. And like I said, this is after about a 10-play drive. Right here, quarterback sneak. Got to get Trey to stay a little bit lower, but Jake pushes him in. And, you know, that was a big drive right there to go up and score. And, you know, we'd moved the ball the first time, but we had to start on about the 4. And I made a bad call. We tried to run trap, and they had jumped in something different. And I didn't have enough time to check him out, and that was a bad call on my part. Or I think we would have went and drove the first one down. We got the ball back there and had a good long drive. And, you know, those long drives, it just seems to demoralize the other team. And, you know, it sets the whole game up for what we want to do. Charles came in, kicked the extra point there. And, but, you know, got a lot of guys that do a lot of things for us. And, you know, I'm able to mix Torrey in at the wing back some. He played some fullback for us and tailback, but I've really got to come up with some ways of resting him and resting Jake a little more, because Torrey cramped up later on. And you know, we almost didn't get set right there, and they could have flagged us, but they didn't. So anyway, it was a good long drive, and I felt good about what we did up front.
Coach, this right here is that big play by Terry Williams getting that block.
Well, we had watched them on film, and they like to do a rugby-style punt. So we actually run a slant into the way he's going, which, you know, that fits our defense anyway. And we told Nate Ward, Nate, you forced the guy from the outside. We slanted Terry. We didn't know Terry would come free. Terry's sophomore, about 6'3", you know, about 200-something pounds. Going to be real good, you know. Got a lot of room to get bigger and stronger, but he did a great job. He's also a basketball player for us, and you could see those skills come out. He blocked the punt, recovered it, like I said, 10th grader. And, you know, he's one of those guys, a lot of people, you know, don't think you can play but one sport. Terry's one of those guys that's living proof. You can play both sports and excel in them. Good football player, good basketball player, a lot of ability, but that was a huge play. And it gave us an easy 6 points right there. And Nate also had a big part. If you watch Nate, he comes off the edge, and the guy doesn't get to roll as far. He'd been sprinting about 8 or 9 yards before he used the rugby style. But we widened Nate and brought Nate, and it forced him to punt inside, and there was no protection. Terry came free and blocked the punt. And like I say, big play out of a sophomore. And I know he's excited, and I know his mom and daddy was fired up watching that Friday night.
And, you know, Coach, you're talking about the dual sport athletes. You know, it brings me back to memory of one of Winona High School's all-state basketball players won a state championship, went on to college at Mississippi State, all SEC wide receiver there for them, and it just goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Double sports.
You know, people don't know that first thing the college coaches ask, they want to know, are they dual sport guys? Can they be coached by more than one? Can they do other things? Can they play on other teams? how can they adapt, and they want to know a guy works all year, plays all year, and is able to do more than just one thing, specializing, but you get a lot of bad advice out there from people that are really not in touch with what's really going on. They don't talk with the college coaches. They just think that they know, and a lot of times they give kids bad advice on playing one sport. Kids need to play as much as they can. I've said before, they're only going to be teenagers one time.
Yep.
But play as much as you can, enjoy it, have a good time, because sooner or later you're going to have to go to work. And that's not near as much fun as playing high school sports.
Coach, let's take a look at this play where Russell County got their touchdown in the game.
Well, it's a tribute to Coach Jones and his staff at Russell County. They could have thrown in the towel right there, but his kids didn't quit. They came in, and like I say, we had to kick off out of bounds. They completed the pass, and they only had half the field. And they drove down and scored. And, there's times we've got to get off the field, and we didn't. And, a lot of times you think there's bad calls, this or that, but at the end of the day, you have to make a play to get off the field. And we didn't right here. And I was real disappointed. Defensive coaches were extremely disappointed that we didn't get off the field. But, we didn't let it get us down. We came back, played well second half, but we made some mistakes right here, and I see a lot of guys catching. We've gotten tired. It's late in the second half, and they had the ball. We had a hard time getting them off the field, and but there's no excuse for standing around, not hustling, not giving great effort. And I'm disappointed in that, but we're going to fix that. And I know our guys. I told the coaches in our meetings yesterday, I said, when they sit down and they watch and they visually see themselves not giving great effort, they're going to be disappointed in themselves. And that's good because they have pride. And they're going to see it. And, I always, the eye in the sky don't lie. And so they're going to see it. A lot of times when you're on the field playing, you think you're giving great effort. You think you're doing what you're supposed to, and you're not necessarily doing that. When you see it on film, you're like, I got to give more. And I got to give more in this specific situation. When my back's against that goal line, and there's less than a minute left to go in the game, I got to do something. I got to do my job, and I got to give great effort so we can get off this field, so we can keep them out of the end zone. And but our kids will. They're resilient, and they say themselves. It'll be a good learning point for them. They can see it, and they can move forward from that.
Coach, let's take a look at that touchdown Torrey Mulkey got on this play.
Right, we had a good drive. Start the second half. We told the guys, look, they got a little confidence right now. They scored on us before half, so we've got to come out, take this opening kickoff, drive it down the field, and we did. We did a good job right here. Torrey came in right here at tailback for us. At this point, we got a pretty good rotation with DQ and Jake and with John and Torrey, being able to rotate those guys a little bit. And Torrey came in, ran the power, and he kind of bounced outside, and it happens sometimes, but he had a good run leading up to the touchdown. And Torrey gives you a little burst of speed right there, and got it in on the corner for us. And that was a big play because that put us back up 2 touchdowns. And like I say, having a good drive right there to open up the second half is always important.
Got a long 12-play drive there, Coach.
Right. We went for 2 right here. Trey didn't get his eyes up. Trey does a pretty good job. They jumped Jake, but Trey Ware opened in the back of the end zone. I don't know how you missed Trey, but I know what Trey Buchanan saw. He thought he could get there to the corner, and the guy made a good play on him. But next time he'll get his head up. Because Trey, once you tell Trey one time, you need to do this or do that, he will. And so the next time he'll pull up and make that throw to Trey Ware for a touchdown, for a 2-point conversion.
Let's take a look at that Torrey Mulkey interception here to stop Russell County.
Yeah, this was a big play. The whole defense, they contributed to it. If you watch, we get some penetration up the middle. DQ comes off the edge. We don't give up contain, and it forces him just to throw the ball up. We had good coverage. Torrey intercepted the pass. I told Torrey the only mistake he made was if you pick it off in the end zone, just lay down, then we get to 20. But it's hard for your instincts not to take over to run the ball back. And I still looking on tape and not sure that he's not in the end zone. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it kind of looks like he's in the end zone.
Yeah, so anyway, he did a good job. It was a huge interception for us. And it stopped the drive. And, we're supposed to come out and have a 99-yard drive for a touchdown. And that pretty much sealed the game. But the entire defense helped to make this play. If you watch Jake Patterson right there, he's got the guy out. He's in hook and curl, and he's right with his guy. And the rest of the secondary was in good shape. Nate has dropped into the flats right there. The corner that's a pretty good job. You know, some plays we didn't look good Friday night, but that was a pretty dadgum good job right there out of the defense. Everybody doing their job. Sometimes it happens, but our philosophy is we're going to keep doing it. Somewhere around the third or fourth quarter, you're going to get tired of those 3-yard, 4-yard carries, and they start turning into 15, 20-yard gashes. And that's what happened Friday night. You know, same things happen over the years. And people put them all up in the box, and, you know, and we just continue playing the football. The guys don't care. They said, because we don't care if there's 10 in the box or not. Said, we're just going to keep doing what we do, and we keep running the football, and, you know, we have some bootleg stuff and complete a pass whenever we need to. And it's just been a good formula and a good plan, and it just seems to continue to work for us. And helps the defense out because, well, the defense get the rest for about 9 minutes there.
Yeah, started out with a 1:23 left in the third and ended up with 7 minutes to go in the fourth.
Right, so 8 or 9 minutes, the defense gets to sit over there and drink Gatorade and Powerade and water and rest a little bit so they get fresh legs when they come in. And just like right here when they come in, you can tell fresh legs were flying off the football when we get back out on the field on defense. And so anyway, I kind of felt like that drive it solidified the game, and it is what we do.
We held them to 3 and out, and then a punt, and then we just ran the clock out after that.
Got a chance to let some young guys play the rest of the night. David Minifield did a good job coming in at fullback, and Austin Mitchell at tailback, and did a good job and let some young guys play out there. Sean Robinson got some work at flanker for us, and I think Jason Touchstone came in and played some guard right there, and Dedrick Edwards got a chance to get back in at tackle and just did a good job. It was a big night for us. Glad to get out of there with a win.
Final score 26-7, Carroll over the Russell County Warriors. Coach, let's talk about, we have the off week coming up. How are you going to prepare the team? Is there certain things you do during an off week? Of course, we haven't had, I can remember any in a long time, but I know you've already got experience in that.
Well, I'm going to be honest, Les. I tell the coaches, I've thought back to 15 years as a head coach, assistant coach, and I don't remember any off weeks. I don't think I've ever had an open week because they didn't start the week 0 till a few years ago. And we had selected to play week 1, play our red and white week 0. So we had played consecutive games, and usually we've always had 10 games. So I had never had an open week. And us, as coaching staff, that was our big thing at our meeting yesterday. We talked about what do we want to accomplish, what are our goals, and our biggest thing is, especially today and tomorrow, we want it to be about us, about fixing the things that we're not doing well, fundamentally improving on the things we need to improve on. And we have a plan, and we listed everything, what we felt like were our major concerns, and we implemented them into our practice schedule the next 2 days so we could really focus on those issues. Of course, we were off Monday. You know, I started years ago. On Labor Day, I do not bring them into practice, and we've won every year, even in, a couple of times. I think it was Charles Henderson, maybe, big region games. But the thing about practicing on Monday, I hate when you have kids miss and you're mad on Tuesday. You're having to discipline kids on Tuesday that missed on Monday when you're out of school. So I just add time. We just make practice longer, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and let them have that break on Monday. It's been a good plan. But it worked extra well this year because it was an off week. Mm-hmm. So, they got a long weekend yesterday. The coaches didn't meet on Sunday. It gave us a little extra time. But we're going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Fundamentals today and tomorrow, working on ourselves. Thursday, we'll go ahead and kind of introduce Tallassee. So it'll give us an extra day. Friday, we'll lift again, do a little conditioning, then try to get out and go scout Tallassee on Friday night. But we're kind of a little bit ahead, give us at least a day and a weekend ahead. But we wanted to allow 2 days just to be for ourselves and correcting the mistakes that we've made for ourselves.
Well, Coach, looking ahead to Tallassee, you got to see film work on them?
We have. We've seen some film on them, and Mike Battles is the coach there, and he's an excellent football coach. They're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to be strong. They're going to be disciplined. But, you know, we saw what they do and already kind of know, and they like to run the football, but he has spread it out a little more this time. He lost an outstanding quarterback. The Baines kid graduated last year, and he was about 80% of their offense. So they don't have him, but they have a very good kid at quarterback, very good player there. So, you know, we're going to have to be prepared. They do some things that are a little unique that we've got to be prepared for. And, of course, defensively, we usually have a pretty good idea. There's only 2 or 3 things that people really can do against what we're doing. So have a pretty good idea there. You know, special teams, he has a lot of gimmick stuff he likes to do, and we've seen that from tape from this year and the past year. We've got some stuff on them. And so we feel like that we're going to be prepared from that aspect. The problem with them is a lot like playing us. If you're not careful, you don't have the ball much. Mm-hmm. And it can be a low-scoring game. You don't have the ball much, and it allows small amount of room for a mistake. And that's my biggest fear playing them. You know, we play these spread people, and they're out there, they're zinging it around, and sometimes they give it back to us after a minute or two and gives us more opportunities to grind it out. But a team like Coach Battles, a lot like us, you may not have the ball a lot, so you can't make mistakes. But I know they'll be well coached. We do get a chance to go watch them against Greenville this week. They play Greenville. It's a region game for them. They play in Tallahassee, so we'll go up on Friday, and the coaching staff will. We'll get a chance to actually see them in person. You know, it's always so much better to see somebody in person than on film, because you can go stand on the sideline and, you know, during warm-ups, I like to get a view of them during warm-ups and that type deal. And then we'll scout them and break down some more film and go from there with them. But look, it's our first region game, and the thing about these region games, they're like playoff games each week. You just can't afford to start slow, because look, at the end, we finished with Greenville and Charles Henderson and Beauregard. And I know people say, well, Tallahassee's ranked here, and they are, and it's not a matter of playing better or worse teams at one point. It's the point of you can't get behind the 8 ball trying to beat people at the end to get in. And also because at the end of the season, injuries come into play. And you don't want to have go into a situation where I got to win 3 in a row and I got 4 starters out. Right now, everybody's healthy. So you need to win those region games early while you're healthy. So if you have injuries at the end, you're not behind the 8 ball. And that's kind of my philosophy on that. It's not a matter of how good those teams are at the top or the bottom, but where you are health-wise at the end.
Yes, I agree. Coach, again, great game last week, Russell County. We look forward to the Tallahassee game coming up a week from Friday.
Look forward to it. Les enjoyed it, appreciate it, and thank you for hosting the show for us.
Yes, sir.
Your hometown dealer now under new management. To kick off the summer sales event, you pay what we pay. That's right, folks. Only at Pike County Ford can you get the same discount as Pike County Ford employees. You pay what we pay. Only at Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how, Napa know-how. Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now we got it right, and welcome to Charles Henderson High School football and the Brad McCoy Show, a review of Charles Henderson High School football, brought to you by Pike County Ford on the bypass in Troy, where new owner Ricky Clark invites you to come in and drive the best truck in the land, the 2018 Ford F-100. And of course, you can't beat Pike County Ford when you're dealing in automobiles or trucks. They'll beat anybody's price. You get your best price on the F-150, and I promise you, they'll beat it at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. And of course, Ricky, we appreciate you very much at Pike County Ford supporting Charles Henderson High School football this football season, and we appreciate it very much. Of course, right now we're waiting on Coach Brad McCoy, and he'll be in here in a moment. He's the kind of guy that works, and then he is always there to meet his obligations. Of course, Charles Henderson coming off of a thrilling 35-28 loss to powerful Enterprise. Enterprise, of course, a 7A school. Charles Henderson, a 5A school. Enterprise took an early lead, but Coach McCoy and his staff put together a second-half effort that almost pulled it out for Charles Henderson as they scored 3 second-half touchdowns to bring the score to 35-28. And ladies and gentlemen, the Enterprise football team and the Enterprise coaching staff were just glad the clock finally ran out, because the momentum was definitely on the Charles Henderson Trojans' back as that game ended. So great effort by the Trojans to open the season against a fine football team like Enterprise. Coach McCoy and his staff did a great job of putting together a good second-half effort and a great determination by this Charles Henderson football team. Shows signs of a pretty good football team this 2018 football season. Of course, hope that you will be able to get out and support your favorite high school team. We're going to go over some scores of last week's game. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to The Catch. The Catch is finally in my favorite football program. And of course, it's put together by a great staff over at the Troy Messenger, Mike Hensley, the sports editor, and Dan Smith. A lot of great footage. He's one of the great cameramen. Of course, the publishers, Stacy Grannon, and associate editors, Allie Grice, ad salesman, Emily Long, and Veronica Gerke, photography, Thomas Granning, Jonah Infinger, Townhouse Photography, and April Brown, and distribution office support, Kaylee Parker. But this should be in your mail very soon, but this is a magazine that I promise you'll enjoy year-round, keeping up with the high school teams in our area. And of course, a real good, as always, a beautiful front cover, and like I said, some real good people putting together The Catch. And of course, as I thumb through, and I'm thumbing through for the first time, a good article on Charles Henderson High School and their football team, and a good article by Dan Smith in that article, and of course a good article and write-up on Zach Jones, the Charles Henderson High School center, and of course a long list of Charles Henderson High School coaches, and also the entire team also has their pictures here, and we've got over 70 players out for football at Charles Henderson. And how about this? 20 cheerleaders, and a good look at the 2018 cheerleaders. They say here the 2017, but it's got to be the 2018, doesn't it? Is that right, Scott?
I think so.
The little arrow there, and of course some real good coverage of Pike County football. I'll show you a little bit about the way all this looks on this great camera crew here. And there's a couple of the Charles Henderson players, and we were mentioning the staff and the players of the team. A great looking group of football players and coaches, and then of course the actual team. All of this is in the catch, and it'll be coming out in your local messenger, or you can drop by the messenger and purchase one of these magazines. It's a magazine I promise you want to keep all year round. For you Pike County Bulldogs, a great coverage of Pike County Bulldogs right here, and of course their coaches and Coach Fred Holland, and look at their coaches and look for Pike County to rebound and have a great year. Of course, has a picture of their team and their cheerleaders, and all of this is part of the catch. We'll move it down a little bit so we can get a lot of this up close and personal. You're the first people that are getting to look at this. It's just hit the press. And here are your Pike Liberal Arts Patriots, and a good-looking look at the Patriots of Pike Liberal Arts, and they're off to a 3-0 start. And a good-looking look. One of those guys is a great linebacker, Copeland, and of course we'll identify some of these other guys later on. Of course, coached by Gene Allen and his staff, and great look at the Patriots. And then we'll flip over, and you've got your individual look at all the players and the cheerleaders at Pike Liberal Arts. The award-winning Charles Henderson High School cheerleaders have won 4 straight state championships. Here's a good look at the Goshen Eagles, coming off a 12-2 season, one of the best football teams ever at Goshen High School. And of course, they cover the 2018 Goshen Eagles, coached by Bart Snyder and his great coaching staff, and a lot of input here on Goshen. And there's a look at close to 50 players out for football at Goshen High School, which is really amazing at that classification. And finally, the Rebels of Zion Chapel High School, Coach Randy Bryant's team, and let me tell you, they won a big football game at Red Level last weekend, and so they're off to a good start. Here's a picture of Randy Bryant, former Charles Henderson player and coach, and young man I think is going to turn Zion Chapel football around if everybody will give him the right kind of support. And there's a good-looking look at their team and their cheerleaders. So, and I appreciate this good film work right here, so we can show this off. And of course, the rest is set up here. This is the Pike Liberal Arts School ad, which is a great ad for this publication. And finally, a look at some other ads supporting the local teams like the Eagles of the Bulldogs, the Eagles of Goshen and the Bulldogs of Pike County High School. Of course, what we're going to do, we're going to get into the film of last week's big game at Enterprise, Charles Henderson and Enterprise, and we're going to take a look at it right here. This is Charles Henderson in white. Great effort there, and he almost broke it for a touchdown early in the game. I don't have all the guys' names down, but I'll have some of them because I got them right in front of me. Number 5 just a while ago was, well, they don't have a number 5. We'll find it in a minute. Here's Enterprise back to pass, and swarmed under by some very good defensive players for Troy. Darius Northcutt was one of them. Look at that beautiful sunset. Okay, here's a Enterprise trying to move the football. This game was played in their new stadium down there. It's a beautiful stadium. But again, Charles Henderson playing them tough Inside handoff there. Number 15 for Charles Henderson was Cole Coppage. Here's a short kick, and Charles Henderson almost broke it for a touchdown right here. He got by one guy, knocked him out of bounds. That was number 5. Again, we do not have a number 5 listed, but he must be a player. There he goes again. I want to say, and here he goes for a touchdown right here on a beautiful fumble recovery by number 56 for Charles Henderson, and that was Rob Robinson. And the Trojans went out in front 7-0. After the X point by Grice was good, and Troy led 7-0. Wildcats here, and bingo, number 58 makes a big play. That was Zeke Caldwell. And then his pressure by Coppage. They got it outside, and he turned it, and then finally was knocked down on a real good play by number 6, who did not. Oh yeah, I've got it. Number 5 is Chance Pollard. Number 6, Terrell Jones. They run the reverse, and he almost got around that corner. Here he does get knocked down at midfield. Great effort by that running back, Chance Pollard. Here's a big pass completion. And the quarterback now is number 1, DQ Tony. And they got him out in space, and boy, he almost broke it. That was number 24 for Charles Henderson. That's Elijah Caldwell. Trojans in a 4-man front, and they try to run off tackle, and Charles Henderson was there to make the play. Of course, as you can see, the rains came down, and I mean came down hard. And when they did, look at the Wildcats. Beautiful field there. Charles Henderson takes it over. This is DQ Tony throwing out in the flat, and he got big yardage. I want to say that was Sean McKinney, but I'm not sure. And here's a big punt that rolled dead inside the 5-yard line and backed Enterprise up. Their quarterback was stopped most of the time. Here's Heener kicking, I believe. The short kick, and here he goes. It's finally knocked down nicely by the Trojans. Now we got a new quarterback in the game, and he throws. This is the second half, and he throws to DQ Tony, I believe, the old quarterback. That was Stephon. Well, let's see. Well, number 18, Puka Jones, and look at here to DQ Tony, and so for a touchdown. And the Trojans are back in business. That was DQ Tony scoring that touchdown from Puka Jones. Here's a big play by the Trojans, number 52. And that was Caleb Grice. Here's Jones throwing again. And complete. We got to get on this cameraman, make sure he doesn't cut off the top of the play. And there he is, wide open for a touchdown. This was number 11, Sean McKinney, and the Trojans are battling back. And here comes pressure, pressure, pressure from the Trojans, number 6 and number 19. Number 6 was Tyrell Jones, and number 19 was Jafrontes Allen. And here they are kicking the ball deep. And watch this, ladies and gentlemen. As he turns the corner, he turns upfield. He's got one man to beat and can't do it. But he did take it back to midfield, and the Trojans are in business at their own 40-yard line. And a great pass across the middle. Puka Jones is on fire here for the Trojans. Young quarterback throws to the other quarterback, DQ Tony. And here comes Puka Jones and the Trojans. Complete to DQ Tony, and Tony is able to get out of bounds to stop the clock. Here's Puka Jones again, complete. This time again to DQ Tony for a first down. Now here's Tony trying to turn the corner, and he does for a touchdown. DQ Tony, and the Trojans are right back in this football game at 35-28. Now they kick the onside kick, and it went right to an Enterprise Wildcat, and they're going to try to run it out right here. But what an effort by the Trojans. And they played straight up with the Wildcats as they killed the clock at the end of the game. But and of course you can see how many players Enterprise dressed, about 100 compared to Trojans 70. But let me say this: a well-coached Charles Simpson football team representing the Trojans of Troy, and we appreciate their effort in Friday night's game. Of course, a lot of individual players played well. I'm not going to try to get into it, but something that I did notice that you might see the emergence of a new quarterback, and is number 18, Puka Jones, who is a young quarterback, but you could tell he was fired up and really played good football for the Trojans. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how, Napa know-how.
Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer, now under new management. To kick off the summer sales event, you pay what we pay. That's right, folks. Only at Pike County Ford can you get the same discount as Pike County Ford employees. You pay what we pay. Only at Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Revenue a team had like that. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, the Brad McCoy Show, a review of Charles Henderson High School football, brought to you by Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. Ricky Clark, the new owner, invites you to come in and drive the best truck in the country, the 2018 Ford F-150. I've got a 150 that's got 240,000 miles on it, and it runs as smooth as silk. And I love that vehicle. And, of course, we appreciate so much Pike County Ford sponsoring this show. I want to mention also our good friends at Trojan Auto Parts on South Brundage Street. Mike Hillcrease and his folks do a wonderful job when it comes to parts, and probably the cleanest parts place you'll ever go to anywhere. And they've been there for a while. Remember, Trojan Auto Parts on South Brundage Street. Of course, we've got several games that were played this week. Andalusia beat Trinity 23-17. Alabama Christian came bust down to Brundage and beat Pike County 16-0 in a game that surprised a lot of people. Some other games, Brantley beat New Brockton 35-16. So the Bulldogs and my old buddy down there is going to do a great job coaching, and I look forward to watching some of his games. Prattville beat Stanhope Elmore 19-16. Providence, under Kenny Keith, former Charles Henderson player and coach, is now been the head coach down at Providence. They won 42-8 over Houston County. Sampson beat Kinston this past week, 37-18. Smith Station beat Valley. Valley's in the Trojans area, and they beat them 27-0. One of the best coaches out there for Smith Station's a young man who was a pretty good football player here at Charles Henderson. His name was Ronaldo Sincade Pennington, one of the great players of all time at Charles Henderson High School, and he coaches there. Other games that might be of interest, another area game, Tallahassee, 16-12, and we're going to bring in Coach Brad McCoy. Like my mama said when
well, you don't grade me on being on time.
Well, let me tell you what my mama used to tell me all the time when we were going to Sunday school.
Yes, sir.
Better late than never.
Better late. That's right.
And ladies and gentlemen, of course, head coach Brad McCoy.
And if his weather would cooperate, I could get our practice
Thanks to the catch, I can turn the pages. And who are those two guys right there?
All right, Javontrez Allen, our starting Sam linebacker, and Zach Jones, our starting center.
Zach Jones, your center. Mm-hmm. But look here, Coach. Look how pretty you and your coaching staff is.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
And then there you are. So I tell you what, let's get into the film of last week's game with Enterprise. And Coach, y'all played them straight up. I tell you, especially in the second half.
We did. We didn't have a very good first half, but we had our opportunities in the second half.
Tell us about all this, Coach.
I think is this the beginning of the game right here?
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we come out on the opening drive and move the ball. Chance Pollard catches a play action pass, a boot play out in the flat, and a lot of good yards after catch. That play was pretty successful for us all night long. I was real pleased with our offensive line. We were able to move the ball. And again, had a lot of opportunities to actually, compete in this game and even win it at the end. We had an onside kick that we didn't recover had a chance to tie it up.
Now, Coach, it did rain, but that sunset was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was. Well, a big cloud came up. It rained on us most all night. It was pretty steady at times. And but defensive line, I mean, considering some of these guys that we had to go up against right here, linebackers, playing hard, fitting the gaps. Just again, a lot of opportunities. We blocked a punt late in the game and ran into the punter, so they got the ball back.
Most of their scores, Coach, were big plays, weren't they?
They were.
And I tell you what, number 5,
Chance Pollard.
Chance Pollard.
He's a senior. He did. And here he is right here. He's a very quick kid. Plays baseball as well for us. He's a really good athlete. See us getting pressure. This is Rob Robertson's.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, sack fumble right here. We work this drill every week, and Cole Coppage puts the hit on the quarterback. Rob picks it up and scores from about 50.
We don't have an instant replay on that thing, but that was a big win, big play.
Yeah,
How did that make the score, Coach?
We tied it up. I believe we tied it up on that one, or it was.
Did y'all lead first, or did they lead?
No, they led first. They went down and scored. And we cut it. Another great play by Rob. Rob played his butt off. And, again, another close fumble right there that they didn't give to us. Good play on the screen right here. We just got to wrap up and tie.
76, Coach, I thought played well.
Darius Northcutt, sophomore D lineman. Tyrell Jones, number 6, really good safety for us.
This is a great effort here,
That's
Coach.
Tyrell. Yeah, he's what a
Tyrell
player.
Jones?
Yeah, Tyrell Jones. He's a junior.
And then, Coach,
we try the reverse.
He makes a great run, though, here.
Yeah, he does. And we had it right there. We ran it earlier in the game and had a penalty. And so they knew that we were going to come back with it later. Trying to see what this play is right here. Another good throw and catch right there. DQ had a heck of a night. I think he ended up having about 160 yards passing. And we run a lot of option the other night. This is something that we've been trying to do a better job.
Coach.
Yeah. And it's just a good old-fashioned triple option out of the gun is what it is.
Another kid, Elijah Caldwell, ran the ball well.
Yeah, he's our H receiver, number 24. He's a sophomore. We're sophomore laden. Got a lot of talented sophomores that play, and here you see the rain.
I want to say that 19 was Javontrez.
Yeah, that's the one on the catch right there. You just asked me about a minute ago. Javontrez, great kid, great player. He's been offered by Chattanooga and Middle Tennessee, and.
Well, I apologize. It was our cameraman not cutting off the top, but other than that, it was pretty good film.
Chris Maxwell, he's a senior. He's come on taking over our punting duties, and
this was a big punch y'all back.
Yeah, great field position. A little too high by Caleb Geist right there on the front, but linebackers did an excellent job.
But I tell you what, your front swarmed them. They didn't run right at you, did they?
No, I mean, they did have some positive plays up the creases, but for the most part, man, I was just.
All right, here's Puka Jones, Coach.
Yeah, he comes in. He comes in the second half and kind of double pumps right here. But I think he ended up close to 100 yards in just the half.
And he looked very confident, Coach.
He is. He's a junior, and comes in and just leads us. It's a touchdown to DQ.
And see, DQ is such a good receiver. DQ's a major college prospect as a wide receiver, don't you think?
He's talented. Again, quarterback, receiver, really fast kid.
52, Coach.
Caleb Geis,
Boy,
sophomore.
And he's a kicker, too.
He's that place kicker I was talking
Coach, he's
about.
going to be a good one.
Soccer-style place kicker. Here's Puka moving in the pocket.
And see, that's what he did so well.
He did. Now, he was he hadn't played football in 2 years.
Now, Coach, y'all are rallying up. What's the score right now?
Here. Here we go. Touchdown to Sean McKinney right there. Again, this is in the fourth quarter. We cut it to 7 right here. And then we try the onside kick and ended up not getting it.
Boy, some great defense here.
Yeah, we I don't know if they just went into conservative mode in the second half, but they didn't really have any. This is the block right here. Let's see right here.
Oh yeah, who got
right
that,
there?
Coach?
And that was Camden Conan. Ended up getting it was a partial block, but
they penalized him.
They penalized him, so they got the ball back.
Get
a great return right here. Yeah. See, that was what was so disheartening about it.
Saturday morning, I was talking to a guy from Enterprise. They said everybody on the Enterprise squad and everybody in the stands was just happy as a lark that game Friday right out of time.
Yeah, we ran out.
Because y'all were really, really on fire.
Well, the main thing that we saw at halftime and in the second half, there was no give up. These guys that we've got this year, they're really good football players, but they play the game of football together. They pull for each other, and that's been something that we've been searching for. Now, you have to give it Enterprise. They will strike you.
Watch this. He turns the corner. Great block on the corner, Coach.
Touchdown right here. Or 2-point. No, that's touchdown, and then we kicked.
What does DQ Tony not do, Coach?
Well, he ran one, and he threw one, and he caught one.
Did he carry the water out to the
only one time. But he did. You don't see that a whole lot when you run and throw and catch one. So.
And, Coach, I tell you something. Puka adds a lot of dimension to your program. He looked like he was glad to be there.
Well,
he wanted to do that.
He did. His reps will certainly increase this week, and he's going to play a considerable amount against.
Of course, he's not the running quarterback. The running quarterback's DQ.
That's correct. And that's the thing. There's just a little bit different dynamic with their skill set.
And of course, there's a big game, and if you're gonna lose the game, lose it to a 7A guy out of the region. Of course, this week you jump into region play, traveling to play the Rehoboth Rebels down in Rehoboth. It's not an easy place to play, is it?
We just have not played good football against Rehoboth in general, home or away, and we hadn't played them good again, in their stadium on the road, and that's something that we have been talking a lot about. And I believe that the culture of this team this year is that hopefully we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. We're not going to make those critical mistakes, and we're not going to wait to start playing. I mean, again, against Enterprise, we had a lot of positive plays, but it wasn't until the second half that we really picked it up. We can't do that against Rehoboth.
Big crowd down there. It was a perfect setting. Of course, you ran into some wet weather, but it was a very good football game.
It was. Again, we got everything out of that contest that we wanted except for the W. Yeah. But we learned a lot about our team.
All right, DQ Tony at quarterback, DQ Tony at running back, DQ Tony at wide receiver. But Puka Jones, Coach, makes things exciting, and it's great to have that kind of
I think it makes defenses, they certainly now have to honor the big-time threat out at receiver. He's good in the screen game. Puka can throw the ball down the field, and he can do enough to hurt you in the run game, just not like DQ can.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, it was a great game, and I appreciate our guys breaking down your film. I thought they did a good job.
Thank you.
And of course, remember to pick up your catch at the messenger day or in your mailbox this week. A lot of information here, Coach.
Bought 18 of those today.
Yeah, that's right.
What a deal. $1.
That's right.
$1.
And, of course, Charles Simpson Football is on the air. We'll see you again right here next week, same time, same station. And, Coach, want to mention not a long ways to go. Ride down to Rehoboth and enjoy a good football game. And come back next week with a big win, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Go Trojans!
Never know how.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how, Napa know-how.
Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer, now under new management. To kick off the summer sales event, you pay what we pay. That's right, folks. Only at Pike County Ford can you get the same discount as Pike County Ford employees. You pay what we pay. Only at Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how, Napa know-how.
Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer, now under new management. To kick off the summer sales event, you pay what we pay. That's right, folks. Only at Pike County Ford can you get the same discount as Pike County Ford employees. You pay what we pay. Only at Pike County Ford, your hometown dealer.
You're live, sorry.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goshen High School Football Show. The Goshen High School football team played their first game against the Ayrton Purple Cats last Friday night in Eagle Stadium in a downpouring rain. And, of course, Keith Ayrton came into that game, I think, a little fired up after losing to us 2 years in a row. And last year, they had a good team last year, but they had injuries early, and the Eagles were able to handle them pretty well. But they were ready this year.
They were a very strong team up the middle and run the ball real well. And of course, with the wet field, that kind of takes a little bit away from your passing game. And they were a little more physical last Friday night than we were. But I think we're going to get more physical as the season goes on.
And a power running team seems to have an advantage on a wet field too than a spread offense. But
of course, anytime you have a loss, you can always go on and on with excuses. But the turnovers in the game played a big part. Not that they had as many or more than we did, but it was where the turnover happened. Most of our turnovers happened with us in our own end of the field.
And not being able to have a jamboree game the week before couldn't have helped.
That's true.
Because these kids have not really played together. They've played together, but they've not been a unit before because of all the seniors that we lost last year. But it was a good team. Ayrton's got a very good team, and I think I saw some positive things about the Eagles, and I think we're going to be all right down the road, don't you?
I think we are. I think we'll improve greatly. Like you said, we had a lot of players that we lost last year. Most of your running backs, your quarterback, your receivers, all the offensive line except for the starting center, and those people are only going to get better with experience.
That's right. Well, we'll go down to the scoring right quick from the Ayrton game. In the first quarter, with 5:45 remaining in the game, number 44 scored on an 8-yard run, and Ayrton went for the 2-point conversion. It was good, and they led 8-0. And then with 3:20 left in the first quarter, number 5, Bryson Peavy, who must have run the ball 40 times last Friday night, he scored on a 2-yard run, and the PAT was made by number 20. That made the score 15-0. And then in the second quarter with 11:42, number 44 again ran 37 yards, and number 20 kicked the PAT, making it 22-0, and I believe that was all the scoring in the first half. No, make that 140 with 1:45 left in the first half. Number 6 for the Eagles, Dix, scored on a pass from Galloway for 15 yards, and the PAT attempt failed. That made the score 22-6, and that was all the scoring. And of course, we had a lightning delay during that time in the second quarter.
There was 8 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the second quarter before halftime, and you know, after the lightning delay and we came back out, they actually beat us 7-6.
And
How long was that lightning delay?
It was probably
30
about
minutes. It was, I think it was
between 30 and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You're right. That's right.
And then the final score came with 8:03 left in the fourth quarter after a long drive. Bryson Peavy, number 5, once again scored on a 2-yard run with the PAT attempt good, making the final score 29-6. And Keith, you got the stats from. You want to go over some of them for us?
I will. For Goshen, the Russian, Jamarcus Sanford had 3 carries for 18 yards. Brian Galloway had 10 carries for 15 yards. Caleb Dawson had 3 carries for 8. DeMarcus Shipman had 3 carries for 8. And Jamarco Harris had 2 carries for 5. And Raquan Martin had 1 carry for 1, gave us 22 carries and 55 yards. In the passing game, which wasn't a good night for passing, Brian Galloway attempted 18, completed 7 for 44 yards and 1 touchdown, and he had 1 interception. Will Snyder came in the game late, and he had 7 attempts with 3 completions for 29 yards and 1 interception. We had a total of 73 yards on 10 catches and 1 touchdown. And on the receiving end, Jamarcus Sanford was our leading receiver. He had 4 catches for 36 yards. Mikael Avery had 2 catches for 14. Trey Dix had 2 catches for 14 yards and 1 touchdown. And Raquan Martin had 2 catches for 9 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, Will Little led in tackles with 8 tackles and no assists. Caleb Dawson had 5 tackles and 3 assists. Caleb Gamble had 5 tackles with 3 assists, and Tamarcus Shipman had 3 and 2. And Cameron Rump had 3 tackles and 1 assist. And Dakari Pelton had 1 tackle with 5 assists. And Brian Galloway had the only interception of the night.
Well, welcome, Coach Snyder. And
yes, sir. Thank you.
Good to see you. I know you've been practicing in the rain again, haven't you?
Yeah, 3 straight days. Today was a real wet one. We stayed out there in it. Didn't have any lightning today, so we was able to do that. Hopefully, it'll pay off. We've been missing it. Today's really the first day we were able to get out on the field. We got out there a little yesterday and a little bit Monday, but got run off with the lightning.
Well, we were just talking. I know you're disappointed in the loss to Ayrton, 29-6. But we did see some positive things.
There was a lot of positive things. You know, we just I thought defensively we did some things as the game went along to get a little better. We just when you have 5 turnovers, which or more, they had the same amount of turnovers we did, but it was the location of the turnovers. It was always inside their 20, and so that they had short yards to go to score. And when they turned over, it was always on their end of the field, and it was just like a punt for them. But there's no excuses. We should be able to produce, and the guys understand what is expected of them and what they want to do. And the intent is to be better. And they've had a good week, even though the weather has kind of limited us on what we could do. Had a real good day today, even though it was real soggy.
Might be raining Friday night, so
very well could be.
Practice in the rain might be a good thing.
It might be.
But anyway, Coach, what about your players? Do you see any spots that you were excited about, or?
I was very pleased with the hustle out of a lot of them. You know, defensively, you know, we got real flat in that first quarter and a half. It seemed like every time we went to do something and we made something good happen, we'd turn around offensively and shoot ourselves in the foot with either the fumble or either I don't know the way of putting it, just a stupid penalty. Anytime you get with those, it hurts you, and that's something that we definitely going to eliminate. But the defense, when we come back out after that rain delay, is played the kind of defense that we know that we can play, and they had very little positive yards after that moment, you know, and then again later during the game we had the muff punt, you might say, and just a missed touch right there, and again they got the ball in great field position, but I think that the defensive side showed some things. Offensively, the line was not as bad as we thought. There was some bright spots there. We just got to connect on some passes, and as well as hit the right holes running the ball, and I think we do that, we'll be okay.
Yeah. We played in Ayrton's end of the field almost all of the first half.
Every bit of it. I don't think we. No, I know we didn't.
No, we played on Goshen's end of the field. We was backed up the whole
that's
first
what I mean,
half.
yeah. But and Ayrton being a power running team, it's got to have its advantages on the wet field.
Well, and they had an experienced offensive line. I mean, that group that they had played a lot last year. There's still no excuses. We were ready. We just didn't play ready. You know, Coach Ward, she and I was talking about it Monday, and she made a comment that her and her husband Jeffrey was talking, and the comment was made, you know, they went and watched them play down at